On this episode, we hang out in New York City, and I keep it tight and firm.
You ask questions, and I answer them. This is the Ask Gary Vee Show.
Hey everybody, this is Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is episode 127 of the Ask Gary Vee Show. Beautiful day here in New York City, kinda a little muggy, humid. India, you like it? Really excited about doing the show. Got a shoot out to Oklahoma City to go give a speech and do some consulting for a client of mine. I know everybody who lives in Oklahoma City is gonna be like, hey Gary, no, I'm flying in, I'm flying out, I'm sorry. But hopefully I'll see you in the streets. Little high five action. We are in the streets of New York City, the rugged Upper East Side. And I'm excited, India. So India, let's get into the show. Good job, not bad. Little false start, but you got in there, good job. All right, let's do it.
Josh asks, what is the number one thing that keeps good leaders from becoming great?
The number one thing that keeps good leaders from becoming great, very good question, maybe a great question from Josh. I think there's a couple things. I think money. I think money is a funny way to hampen a leader. They're driven by that. I think that emotional skill sets, to be great at something, you have to over-index. You just have to. You have to be able to be great at it. I mean, you could be a good basketball player, you could be a great basketball player, and a lot of that has to do with DNA. And so I think a lot of natural leadership skills, for me, the reason I aspire to be a great leader is I truly focus on one variable, and I want everybody to hear this, and it's a very sneaky pillar of my life success, which is when I think about you, India, or you, D-Rock, or anybody that I jam with in my world, startups, companies that when I go to Oklahoma City, the client, I'm trying to provide 51% of the value. I really believe that, and not because I'm this great human being, because I think it's leverage. I think that if D-Rock feels that I'm slightly providing more value to him than he's providing to me, financially, upside in the future, mentorship, whatever it may be, that's going to make me a great leader. A, it's how he feels about me, and B, it's going to focus me on always trying to one-up the next person. And when you're a leader, one-upping comes in many forms. I'm gonna continue to show you angles that you haven't seen about yourself, right? I'm going to continue to challenge you, financially compensate you, give you opportunities, bring you to things, one-upping, trying to provide more value to the other person. And I think that, I think a lot of great leaders are, a lot of good leaders are 80-20 for themselves. I think extremely good leaders are 50-50. I think great leaders start to go to the 51-49 direction.
Cindy asks, what are your thoughts about the subscription box business model? Trend, change in behavior, sustainable long term?
Cindy, I think it's a great question. I'm very bullish on it. I mean, I don't know if you know that you're talking to the person that wrote one of the first 2 checks into Birchbox, angel investor in BarkBox. In my own fund, Vayner RSC, we incubated only 3 companies, Brave, an incredible company, Rezi, an incredible company, and our third incredible company is FaithBox. I really believe in it. I don't know if it's a change in behavior. Remember there was like you guys are young, old timers, remember there was like a Columbia House music subscription thing? Like, subscription models have existed forever. What's that pear company, David and Harry and David's, like basket of the month, like wine of the month clubs. I came from it. It's not a change. I think that it's always been something that we as consumers want, which is I'll pay one time, just have it show up. I actually think there's way more upside in it. I think that there's way more to go, and I think the brands a la BarkBox that get into the lifestyle business, into the media business, have a real play, and so I'm very bullish on it. I do not think it's a fad. It's clearly not a fad because of the month clubs have existed for a long time.
Shan asks, what is the best way a college student can make supplementary income?
That's a tough question. I don't love this question, to be honest with you. I think that there's 17,000 ways to make supplementary income. You can babysit. You can collect cans on the street and return it for deposits. You can go garage sailing and flip it. You can go to all the freelance sites in the world and do your thing if you can design or video. You can become an Uber driver. You can mow fucking lawns. Like what kind of question is that, India? I think the answer to that question is the way you make supplemental income is to put in work.
I thought you were going to tell him to quit school.
You can quit school too, but I mean, like that question stinks.
It does stink.
It's a stinky question, and I'm sorry, I know you watch the show, I love you. This is straight tough love. Like, it's a mentality thing, not a tactical thing. There's 8 billion ways to make money. We're in goddamn America. 99, or if you're not, 98% of the countries in the world, you can make money. Like, go work at McDonald's.
All right. From Perth Champagne Club, what are your goals for
Champagne Club?
Perth Champagne Club?
Oh, that's interesting. I wore like a champagne kind of thing. Yeah. All right.
What are the goals?
Perth Champagne Club asks, what are your goals for VaynerMedia? Is there an end game?
There is an end game. I want to build the greatest marketing company of all time, right? And I want to build the greatest marketing company of all time that is an evergreen business for me that I can deploy all my future activities around. AKA, when I own the New York Jets, VaynerMedia will be the marketing company that redesigns the logo, that does the marketing plan to take more of the New York market share from the Giants back to the Jets, to sell tickets while everybody's living in a virtual reality world and feel like they're playing it. Why would they go to the stadium? Yeah, I want to build it. And it was one of the great, I think it will end up being one of the great pillars of my business career, the decision 4 years ago, really 6 years ago, but really 4 years ago, to build an agency that scales my skill set, to build infrastructure around me, to then enhance all my future. Take one step backwards, because that's what VaynerMedia was. To build a client service business that was taking away from all my other behavior. One step backwards for 2 steps forward, D-Rock, you're too slow.
No Fun Press asks, what are the daily decisions you've stopped making or put on autopilot in order to maximize your brain power for the day?
That's a great question. Thank you, India and No Fun Press. I'm gonna blow your faces off. Almost all of them.
Whoa.
Almost all of them. And what I mean by that is I fundamentally believe that I recognize, for me, that 99% of things don't matter. I mean, you guys roll with me. How many, you know, right? Like, what, I don't care. Fine. Like, think about the lack of micromanaging I do, the lack of like being weird of like this, that, you know, like literally the only micromanaging I ever did was like when I would make Zach like, you know, Photoshop out my double chin during the fat years. I mean, like, you know, like I really believe that most things don't matter. And so what I do is I, you know, put people in positions to succeed. I recognize, look, I do believe that most people that do things for me or with me, especially if they're tasks that I can do, don't do them as well as I do. I'm like every other person with ego and skills and all that. The problem is, I recognize I can't do them all. You know, it's about how you look at them. D-Rock and I had an interesting conversation the other day on a different subject, but it was like, you can look at this or you can look at this, right? Yep. And that's how I look at it. I could do all these 29 things at an 11, or I can outsource that and let all of them be 8s and 7s and 6s and 5s, because they don't mean that much. And I can focus on whatever's left for me and do it at a 37 and so, or an 11, just to make the analogy proper. So I think most things don't matter. I go with my intuition to focus on what I should be doing. That's it. I've been able to level up in my career by leaving my ego at the door and recognizing that other people could do it better, and if they don't do it better, that their 8 is as good as my 11, because the end result of the marketplace judging is an 8 and 11 is the same goddamn thing, and my time and energy can be deployed against something bigger. While optically, back to the prior question, we'll focus on something like VaynerMedia, where holistically people thought a waste of my time. I knew what my 25-year, 40-year strategy was, and so that's a scoop, India. Another good day here in the streets. It's good to see the core team in place. Me, India, and D-Rock. All those other characters. They can come and go. Question of the day. What is your favorite thing about New York City? You keep asking questions, I'll keep answering them. Podcast alert. Outside of New York City, decided to give you a little extra podcast love, and here we go.
How do you think you'd fare in a zombie?
Sorry.